we got a good episode for everybody today. Let's get right into it. So something that Chris and I, we've been seeing has been making the rounds across all social media platforms is that there's a wealth killer. And every financial guru and their mama are making videos about.
I'm not going to lie. When you first started bringing this up to me, I had no idea the fuck you're talking about.
Really? Oh, my God. Literally just search #1 wealth killer. You'll see every financial guru talking about it. And we thought that, okay, so maybe there's something here that we need to address. So usually when thinking about the source of your financial problems, Chris and I and the people that we speak to rarely, shout out Haroon.
You know.
You'll find out in a little bit why we're saying that. We rarely hear people admit to their car payment being something that they subject themselves to that's causing their financial problems. So what does this all boil down to? We have your household expenses. Household expenses are things that make up, your monthly expenses every month. You got your housing, whether that's your mortgage payment or the rent that you're paying. You got utilities. That doesn't fluctuate too much. You got your electricity, gas, water, trash removal, right? And you got groceries. That includes food, dining out with your friends, maybe grabbing some drinks if that's what you like to partake in. And then a big one that really affects a lot of people is transportation. And the thing that bothers us the most is what society has done to everyone. Come on, man.
Come on, man. It's called live streaming.
Live streaming. What society has done to paint people out as successful as someone having a really nice car. And I think that we need to be the ones on the front lines here, making it cool again to talk about being financially responsible, to not subject yourself to a high car payment.
Oh, God damn it. There's like rabbit holes I can go down with this. That's going to take all night long. How much time do we have for tonight's show?
I'm on record. I want to say I am guilty of making these mistakes. So if I can prevent one person.
Shit. I am so guilty of making these mistakes in the most ostentatious, stupid ass ways.
And here's the beauty behind this conversation that you're about to listen to between two people. I mean, it's no secret. Chris is in a much different financial position than someone like me.
Not anymore. I'm poor.
But you got to understand, I remember when my wife and I, when we first got married, I said, look, I'm not sure how much money we will be making down the road in the future. But if we can just make sure we don't make any financial missteps, we'll be just fine. And then what did I do? Messed around and went and bought myself a brand new Jeep just because I needed to scratch that itch of having my quote-unquote dream car. It's not a fancy car. I don't think
that was as bad as you make it out to be, man.
No, it's not. But here's the problem: I didn't need it at the time.
Okay, you want to talk stupid? I'll give you stupid.
We had a paid off Honda Civic. Listen to this, okay? Now we're going back to the listener that says Saied never likes to share any personal stories about it.
Oh, is this a rare moment where you share some personal shit?
Personal stuff that I'm
going to sit right up for this shit. Go ahead. I'm all ears.
I'm willing to showcase my stupidity. Okay. We had a paid off Honda Civic. We had just gotten a Ford Explorer at the time for my wife to have a bigger car for the kids. Okay, so the kids could be safe in a car. That's something that everyone wants, right? We also had a paid off Honda Civic. After a couple of years, now we're expecting our second kid. And I was like, I'm handling all the drop offs because my wife has to get to work super early. I need a big car too. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And I'm trying to rationalize to myself that I should be getting a newer car, a little bit more safer of a car. A Jeep is not any safer.
And anecdotally, the backseat of a Jeep is surprisingly small.
It's really small, and it's not a safe car. There's no side airbags. I'm literally talking myself into why I deserve this car. I work hard. I deserve this. This is for someone to say my dream car is a brand new Jeep. I mean, usually you think of something like a flashy car, right? For me, I was never into the Mercedes-Benzes or the BMWs or anything. Don't get me wrong. I think they're really nice cars. But for me personally, I just wanted to have like a brand new Jeep. To me, that was the coolest car out there. Sure enough, even though my car payment now, when you look back at it and you compare it to today's standards, my car payment was only at $500. And it was still within the ratio that they recommend for as far as what your income is. I didn't need to do that to myself. I could have taken that money. I had a paid off car. I could have invested it, and we'll get into some examples shortly as to how much money I could have made over that time period.
Man, let's see. I got a 745i, top of the line, black on black BMW.
How old are you?
I was in my mid 20s. You were there. I think it was mid 20s, right?
Right.
And then I bought it used. So in that one, I wasn't totally stupid. I got it used, right? But then I went and played fuck around and find out. I put 22-inch wheels on it, tires, the whole thing, and big deep dish. I think there was like 5.5 or 6-inch rims in the back. Problem is as aesthetically cool as that was, like every time you hit a pothole driving to Los Angeles, like there goes your wheel.
Right.
Like you need a new rim.
Yeah, and you purchased it. You didn't lease it, right?
I purchased that one, but that one bit me in the ass because ultimately the transmission went out in that one. Right. I bought it certified pre-owned, so I wasn't totally stupid on how I bought it. Transmission went out, and I'll never forget the day that it went out. I was supposed to meet a bunch of friends back at my then apartment, right? I started buying some real estate, but I still lived in a 580 square foot junior 1-bedroom apartment. Basically, it was like a studio apartment, but it had a wall for a bedroom, right? And I'm supposed to meet all these people at my house. We're supposed to go out to Laguna Beach afterward. My dad, I love my dad to death. This is not a knock on him, but this is just the truth, okay? He says, hey, you're making all this money now. He started to see how much money I was making because he helped me with some loan stuff because I didn't want to do it through my own bank, and I didn't have time to mess with it, so I leveraged him to do it for me. My dad's a broker in the space, and he's like, you deserve like a nice car. So I drove the car limping along to Irvine BMW, and then I pulled the wires from the battery, right? So that they couldn't test drive it because I knew they would tell me there's a transmission issue because a different BMW dealership told me that I needed a new transmission, and it was several $1,000s. Ridiculous amount of money. One thing leads to another. I'm supposed to meet with some friends at my house. It's Halloween night. I'm running late. I wind up with a 745 Li, top of the line, long wheelbase, brand new model 7 Series that I leased. And I'd always been in underwriting, not a proponent of leasing cars because I knew that going over mileage was just kind of a thing you do. That the benefits of a lease really inure to somebody who owns a company. If you own a company and your CPA tells you, not you whimsically trying to find out a way to make this shit happen, don't be that person. Social media is all about, if you get a truck that's in the 6,000 pound bracket or more, it'll qualify for this discount or that discount. And the reality is, whether you like it or not, that's probably not going to be you. The sad, unfortunate situation for most people is that when you get to a position in life where you have a CPA and you're making enough money for this, your CPA will call you up one day and say, hey, you should do this because you can write off the difference and it'll save you some money. Now, the words saving you some money is kind of contextual. You can either pay the money to the government or you can do something for yourself, but either way, the money is not going to be in your pocket.
There you go.
You just get the benefit of something as opposed to just writing a check to the government.
Right. That
being said, that car cost me a tremendous amount of money. I was way over on mileage, sorry. I was, I kept the maintenance there. At the end of the lease, I had nothing. I had a residual buyout that didn't make any sense. And I was incredibly frustrated with it.
And that's the problem, right, with leasing, right? So for the listeners out there that maybe have never leased a car or are thinking about leasing a car and don't know some of the struggles that go with it, they limit you to how many miles you can drive every year, and by the time you return the car. And if you go over that mileage, they could charge you anywhere from 10 cents for every mile you're over, or sometimes up to 50 cents, right?
Yeah, and keep in mind, too, if there's beyond like your normal like wear and tear on the vehicle, you're responsible for that, too. Something happens while you're driving it, like that's on you.
Right.
And a lot of people wind up in a situation at the end of the lease where they feel compelled to buy out the car and keep the car because they don't want to pay whatever the cost would be to turn it in and lose everything.
Right. And then you're still in that scenario where if you would have just bought the car outright, you would have saved money on the deal, and you're now paying more for the car.
100%. And I will say, look, like I get the idea that you have a lower payment. So people try to argue that, oh, this cash flow is going to help me over time because I'm paying less money every single month than I otherwise would. Or you can just get less high end of a car. But the fact of the matter is, and this is the cold, hard truth, almost all vehicles, not all of them, but almost all of them are depreciating assets. You really shouldn't be putting a whole lot of money into depreciating assets until you've built kind of the core concepts we talk about on the show, which includes a 6-month reserve, right? 6-month liquidity and reserve. It includes a retirement account that you're consistently investing into.
Credit card should be completely paid off.
Credit cards you pay off at the end of every single month. And at that point in time, when you start to look at your investment structure and what you're doing, if you're on course and you're on target and you feel like spoiling yourself, do that. I made some mistakes along the way, 100%. My next car after the 7 Series, just anecdotally, you know what it was? It's a Jeep.
It's a Jeep. I was there.
Yeah, and let me tell you, this story is interesting because it really brought into my mind the frame of why you buy a car, like frame of reference. shortly before I went on a business trip to Hawaii, an older coworker, she saw my car. She's like, "Why do you drive an old man car?" And I was like, "I don't. Fuck you talking about? I don't drive an old man car.
I make this shit hip.
Like that thing's dope."
Well, which one?
That was the white 7 Series.
The white 7? That's not all man car, man. All the rappers got it.
Like that was the thing, man. It was fully equipped, long wheelbase too, plenty of room to like sit back in the backseat. You know, I mean, I never sat back there, but I hear good things. But and then as I said that day in the parking lot came the oldest employee that we have in the bank, Roger. Shout out to him, fucking stud. Love Roger.
Right.
He got the exact same car a couple weeks later, same wheelbase, same. And Roger's balling. Like he makes money look like it's just falling off like trees. Like, I mean, here's $1,000 for me.
He's the kind of gentleman where you look at and you think to yourself, that guy's got money. Like you already know.
If Tom Cruise from Risky Business grew up, it would be Roger.
Wow. Yeah. Solid reference.
Bro, Roger was 80 years old and we were at a hip bar that just opened up in Newport and I'm sitting there with my wife and it's packed, like no standing room only.
Yeah.
And we're at the front of the bar. I feel this tap on my shoulder and it's like, "Hey there, young man." Like right at the front, I'm like, "Come on, bro." Like,
with that delivery too?
You can't be that cool, man.
Right.
In any event, yeah. So he rolls up in that and I'm like, "Shit, it's an old man car." So that was my premise. I still love the car, all the features, all the amazing things. But then I go to this trip to Hawaii, right? I'm in Hawaii and I rented a Jeep. Not because like I picked one out, just because like I rented a car. They have like a fleet of Jeeps there. They just gave me a Jeep.
Yeah.
And during after work hours, I'm rolling around, going on all these hikes. And I remember looking out the top, which was off, and I'm going up to like Cocoa Head or Diamond Head or something like that. And it's this beautiful day, and I'm looking at the sunroof, going like, "Why don't I live next to Laguna Beach? Like it's one of the most beautiful places in the world. It's basically a mini Hawaii.
This makes all the sense.
Like, why don't I have one of these? Like, what am I doing wrong?"
Right.
Flew back, came back within like a month and a half. I had a Jeep.
Yeah. For me, it was growing up. I remember my dad's a mechanic, and he loves fixing up cars. He loves fixing up old cars. Loves working on all kinds of cars. And I always remember asking him all the time, like, if you could have one car, what would it be? And he always said he wanted a Jeep. And I think it was a play on him saying he loved the Jeep so much that naturally it just like got embedded in my head that, oh, you love this too. And after driving it, you realize it's just such a fun car to drive.
I've got an anecdotal story here, which again highlights. So I've highlighted the fact that experiences should matter more than the experience of somebody seeing you in it. The joy of driving it should matter more.
Yeah.
I do have an anecdotal story, which I hesitate to share, but I'm going to do this because I think there's value in it. Okay. All right. So there was a period where I had the Jeep and I had the 7 Series at the same time. I hadn't turned the 7 Series in. And I bought the Jeep long before it was time to turn in the 7 Series. So I kind of drove them like whenever, but I pretty much drove the Jeep all the time after that. And I drove to LA to go on a date. And the date was with a playmate. And she was very well known and, whatever, blah, blah, blah. A friend of mine set us up this date. And we were going to what was then the hottest restaurant in LA, which I had been to several times for business, right? When we were starting the company, I spent a lot more time up in LA, meeting people, clients, stuff like that. And I was kind of helping oversee sales for a little bit. So I'll never forget when she came out and saw the Jeep. And it was a bone stock Jeep at the time. And I had big plans. I want to be very modified, all this stuff.
Right.
The look I got when she came out, I was like, huh. And I wonder what would have happened differently. We never went on another date. Like it was just that.
Right.
Right. We went to the restaurant and she was, because she saw the car and she assumed that I hadn't gone to a restaurant like this frequently or that I hadn't been there. She assumed that nobody knew me. So we get to this restaurant and she's like, you can get this here, you can get that here. And I didn't say anything. I was like, all right, cool. Whatever. She's like, I'll introduce you to, blah, blah, blah. There's people. The guy comes over to the table, puts down my Manhattan on the table. "Chris, good to see you. It's been a couple of days. How you been? Blah, blah, blah." And they're like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" to her.
Oh, geez.
And it was like this like weird like paradigm shift in the conversation in the night. But I'd already decided when we walked in, like we were not going on. Like that was it.
See, and lucky for you, you had the confidence and the experience to know, like, I need to avoid this. But a lot of people, I think, are so afraid of dealing with that kind of experience that they rather just pony up the money, pay the, right now you're seeing a lot of people with $1,000 monthly car payments, and you're like, what are you doing, man?
Dude, my sister, who never listens to the show, has a $1,600 a month Mercedes-Benz payment.
Makes absolutely no sense.
Mind you, I have an $1,100 Rivian payment right now, which I'm only carrying for a short period of time because if you listen to the episode we did just before this, episode 220, where we talked about credit, one of the things I like to do is put installment loans on my credit report and pay them down a little bit over time. I typically pay them off early, so about a year and a half from now, I'll just pay it all off in cash.
Right.
But I like to have that trade line and I also have it under my wife's name, so it helps build her credit in addition to mine as well.
Right. And typically speaking, the rule of thumb that a lot of people like to live by, if you aren't in that type of position to where you can do that and you are financing a car, make sure that you are buying a car and you're putting it on a plan where you're paying it off within no later than 4 years. That's the rule of thumb that I've always heard. If you can get that down to 3 years, even better, right? Because you never want to be in a position to where you're underwater, where you owe more on the car than it's actually worth. Now, we've all heard that driving a car off the lot immediately loses 10% of its value right when you turn on, put the key in, you drive off, or now maybe all cars are push to start, take the car off the lot, 10% down. But typically on average, what you'll see is values of cars will come down 20 to 30% within the first year.
Yeah.
You know?
That's a concept I think most people really don't understand, especially when you can get a certified pre-owned vehicle from most dealerships.
Mm-hmm.
You get a warranty, you get powertrain coverage, you get a vehicle that you know is going to work for a prescribed period of time under the warranty. Why not do that? Somebody else already taking the depreciation hit.
Right.
You're getting it for lower than market, especially some vehicles like the Jeeps for a long period of time held their value. The resale value was one of the highest resale values
of the
secondary market. But a lot of Mercedes-Benzes, BMWs, these things truly depreciate the second you drive them off a lot, and it's pretty significant. You can have somebody else take that depreciation hit, buy it a year or two used. Mm. Sure, you don't know how it was used the entire time that somebody else drove it. But odds are, if they're giving you a certified pre-owned warranty, it wouldn't be a problem for you anyway.
It shouldn't be a problem anyways, exactly. And another factor that you have to take into consideration that when you're there, they get you looking at all the bells and whistles, right? But if you're looking to buy a car, you got to think of the maintenance factor on these cars. This is a valuable lesson I learned early from my dad. One of the benefits of my dad being a mechanic was a lot of times people, if they had really bad issues with their car and they didn't want to pay for it or didn't want to deal with it, he would buy it off them and then he could fix it up and then he would ask you could have it or we could resell it, right? And I'll never forget, I had my first car was a Honda Civic. And then the very next car that this happened, he could have upgraded me to a little bit older of a Lexus GS. Big upgrade for a kid, right? Yeah. Early 20s. I said, "Oh yeah, sign me up." He's like, "Oh, okay. Just know that that $300 you typically pay to replace all your tires just turned into over $1,000, or maybe closer to $2,000." And I was like, "Okay, cool. Never mind. I'm just gonna stick to my Honda Civic." Dude, and that's just tires.
I just replaced Joanna's tires today. For the Tesla, and she doesn't have like the big upgraded wheels. She has like the standard wheels that came on it. Mm-hmm. It was $2,100 for 4 tires.
Right.
Yeah, today. Plus $170 to fix like the glove box issue. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, like, man, like it's so wild how much some of this stuff costs. But when I look at the Tesla and cars like that, which I think if I were a kid and I want to get a new car, I don't know that I'd get like an EV used. The technology is a little bit too new for that. But if I were to get a new car, especially with the tax rebates and stuff like that you can get with a Tesla, why wouldn't you get like a Tesla Model Y? Like to me, a Model Y is such a good, if you can afford it, right? That's a good, like healthy option where you get a good blend of technology, you get a decent amount of space. Mm-hmm. There is no maintenance on it other than windshield wiper fluid and literally changing tires. Like that's it.
Right.
So,
and then, at some point in time, you will have to replace the battery, which basically makes it a wash for all the maintenance
you're not going to keep it long enough to where that's a problem for you.
You're probably not, right? Well, they haven't been around long enough to know, but maybe we get into some of these terms on these loans because I know typically what you see when you go to the dealership or if you get private financing or through a bank somewhere nearby, which you should definitely explore your options. The financing team over at the dealership is going to charge you an arm and a leg. You get either 24 months, 36 months, 48 months.
The only time you should go through a dealership really is there's a couple different versions of it. So if you went to like Rivian, for example, Rivian's really just JP Morgan Chase.
Okay.
But here's the way I look at it is once you get large enough, you're going to have a private money account with your bank like Chase or Wells. Like I have a PMA account with Wells, right? Mm-hmm. I'll go to their private client financing to get a little better pricing. But before I had all that, when I was younger, what I did is I'd go to the dealership. What's your dealership financing terms? I'd go to my bank. What's your financing terms for a new car, used car? I'd see if I belonged to a credit union. Back in the day, I belonged to schools first, and the credit union's pricing almost always won out.
The best.
But there was an instance where the dealer was always a good idea. When dealerships got to a point where they're desperate, and it still happens in cycles, when they give you 0% or close to 0% financing, like just take that.
Right.
You're not gonna get better than that. If it's super low like that, then take it. Obviously, this is not the rate environment we're in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people are getting 6-7% interest rates right now, which I get it, but
I mean, no, you're seeing somewhere 8% in some cases.
yeah, it was subprime stuff. I think it's 8%. I think right
Right.
now if you're still prime, you're 720 and above in a FICO score range. You should probably be in the 6 to 7 range.
Yeah, hopefully you can get that, definitely. But but you're starting to see even longer terms, and that's what they get you to do, right? When you go to these car dealerships, what they try to get you to focus on is the monthly payment. Can you live with this payment, right? And they keep stretching out the term of the loan, right? You'll see some loan terms as much as 84 months, right?
Yeah.
And we've even started to see 10-year loans on some of these cars now.
Oh, dude, yeah, no.
And you're like,
it's
this
wild to me.
And that absolutely not. Like we said, it should be typically, no later than 4 years before you pay it off. Hopefully, you can get that under 3.
I think the Rivian's 60 months, but I typically pay them off in about a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. So here's the kind of the barometer that I've always used as I've gotten older, is I look to my mortgage or rent payment, right? I should not be spending as much or more than my mortgage or rent payment.
Oh, no way.
Right?
Yeah.
But again, you look at my little sister, she's paying $1,600 a month. If you got a 1-bedroom someplace, I guarantee you it's going to be close to, if not more than that.
I guess, yeah. It really depends where you live regionally.
It does depend where you live regionally, but your mortgage or rent should be your highest cost. Now, if you're getting a sweetheart deal or you're in some situation where you've got roommates and you can bring that cost down because you've house hacked, all good.
Right.
But whatever market is for that, whatever it is your living situation should be, that should be kind of your barometer for, am I spending too much on a car or not, given how much you make. And here's the problem is people start going, well, Chris, I make $200,000-$300,000 a year. I can afford more. Good for you. But should you afford more?
Right, exactly. I mean, you could literally take that money, extra money, and what you could do is invest. So back to that example early on when I said we had a paid off Honda Civic when we had kids, and I didn't need a new car. If we were to get a new car today, the average car payment on a new car today is $738 currently today.
That's the average
for a new car.
Wow,
a lot,
that's
right?
A lot, yeah.
That's a lot. So let's just say I didn't need a new car. I had a Honda Civic that I could have ran it till the wheels fell off. 200,000 miles easily, right? If I had just taken that $738 and invested it and got a 7% return, which is very conservative, right?
Yeah.
Over the long term, right?
Last time you went viral, people very much argued over the 10% number.
I know, exactly. But investing in the stock market over the long term could get you anywhere between 7 to 10%. Now we're saying, 7% because that's how much your interest rate on your car loan would be, right? You would be contributing $48,000 over that time frame, over 5.5 years. Interest you would have gained is $10,000. You would have been walking away with $58,000, right? If I'd have just stuck to, and for someone like me, that's not in the same financial position as someone like you, $58,000 means a whole lot more to someone like me.